To summarize, we really believe that the application of the RLSC zoning conforms with most of the surrounding areas, or much of the surrounding areas. We're able to include, again, the open space as well as extensive landscaping. We thoroughly believe that this will add surrounding value to the neighborhood as well as the township. And it also answers probably the biggest question in the market. There seems to be two groups of buyers in the market today, two significant groups. One is the 25 to 35-year-olds that are starting new families. And it's amazing, the last house that sold in Cambridge, they were 23 years old, both have jobs, and they have a 3-month-old baby. I don't know if it's a bigger baby, but they both have jobs, but they wanted the story and a half because they don't have time to cut their grass. They don't, and believe it or not, a lot of people don't like doing that anymore. They just don't do it. So we've got that end of the spectrum, the 25 to 35-year-olds, and the other end of the spectrum, that I think are the 50 to 90-year-olds. We've got one of our residents in Windsong celebrating her 98th birthday. She walks 4 to 5 miles a day, absolutely loves living in Windsong. She came from Birmingham. She came from a $780,000 house. This was so those are the things that we think that this not only, okay, it looks good, everything's great, the landscape is great, but if it doesn't sell, it doesn't do anybody any good. And that's why we took a real hard look at the market. So the choice came down to, do we want to do what everybody, not everybody, but what most people do, and that's build a minimum house with minimum quality and sell it at a minimum price and just carry on and do what has been done for years? Or do we want to take the upgraded things that we've done over the years since 2000 and introduce them to along Cooley Lake Road and bring that same product to Lotus? And that's what we're asking for.
Good product, no doubt about it. Yep. Anybody else have any questions for Larry? Mr. Mayor? Thank you, appreciate it, and excited to see it come together.
Thank you.
Looks good.
I'd like to make a motion to introduce the cat ordinance and schedule it for possible adoption at the July 8, 2019.
Support. Any further discussion on this? Roll call vote.
Bartolotti.
Yes.
Roscoe.
Yes.
Joliet.
Yes.
Wall.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Burton.
Yes.
Markey. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we got rezoning case number 19-06-02, rezoning from public lands to R1A, 13-16-201-001 and 002.
Make a motion to rezone case number 19-06-02, rezone from public land to R1A, 13-16-201-001 and 002.
Support. This is formerly township-owned property that we recently sold, and it was R1A residential prior to that, and it will go back. When it becomes township property, it becomes public lands. Now that it's been sold, it goes back to R1A. That's what they're requesting, to return it back to where it was. Anybody else? Okay, roll call vote.
Bartolotti.
Yes.
Roscoe.
Yes.
Joliet.
Yes.
Birch.
Yes.
Markey. Yes. Wall.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, in our new business, request to approve Glock 9mm handguns and accessories purchased by the Waterford Police Department.
I make a motion to approve the Glock 9mm handgun and accessory purchase to Keesler Police Supply for a credit of $2,117. We're actually receiving the credit because we're selling guns back to this company.
Support.
Any further discussion? Good job, Chief Underwood, to put that together. It's very self-explanatory, and like I said, I was a smart aleck when I said, are you telling me the guns are sold, they have antique value? You said, no, Gary. So it is. Good job, job well done. Okay, roll call vote.
Markey, yes. Bartolotta.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Wall.
Yes.
Joliet.
Yes.
Birch.
Yes.
Roska.
Yes.
Okay, next up, we have a citizen to address the board. Kathy Skubik, Mike Coney, and Bridget Becker. Perfect, yep. If you're speaking, speak into the microphone and then everybody
How's
will
that?
hear
Can you
you.
hear me okay?
Yes, can you say your name first?
Sure. Hi, I'm Kathy Skubik. I want to thank you for adding us to your agenda, and I also want to thank, we have at least 25 people back there supporting between massage therapists and clients and residents, my neighbors. I am a Waterford resident. I also own Irene Smile Massology Institute, which is a nationally accredited school of massage therapy in Southfield. Irene was my mom. She went to massage school in 1958. So I literally grew up around massage, and I remember as a child watching her fight against massage parlors, which at that time were fronts for prostitution. And she worked really, really hard to keep massage and move it into a reputable light and make sure the public was aware of its health benefits. She continued to practice and teach. I started working with her in 1987 when she opened a state licensed massage school. And I also, worked through that. And so I've been in this business in education for 32 years. And I also worked a lot with the legislative coalition that got the state licensed massage bill passed. I think it was in 2009, if I'm not mistaken. So therapists now have to be state licensed, and what we're encountering is the different local municipalities having ordinances that make it cost prohibitive for therapists to work. And we're looking to the Township of Waterford to perhaps amend the ordinances. I took the liberty of putting a packet before you guys got here, because I promised when I was on the phone with the clerk earlier today that I'd email it to her, and I didn't get around to that. So I printed hard copies for you folks. But, so I have the different items in the ordinance listed that I find objection to. 10-162 is a simple one, just the term parlor. That's not relatively offensive. It's offensive to professional therapists, and it does get associated with adult entertainment, which we want to steer away from as much as possible. I believe that a lot of these ordinances are in place to try and prevent prostitution, and we are totally on board with that. That's what we want to do as well. And like to work together with law enforcement to accomplish that. Our lobbyist is here as well, so some of these things I'm going to defer to him. One of the things that's a big concern is the background check that the Township of Waterford requires, because they do have to have this done with fingerprinting and state police in order to get a state license. In order to get a license with the state of Michigan, they also have to attend school and pass a very hard massage board licensing exam. School costs about $12,000. So I don't really think there's hookers that are spending $12 grand to get a massage license. I guess I sound sarcastic, that's my sense of humor, so I apologize. But and then, things in there in the ordinance that really seem to try to align massage therapy with adult entertainment instead of health care. So the dress code, telling they have to have their genitals covered and their breasts, where I don't think you probably tell a physical therapist or chiropractor if they have to cover their breasts. the hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. for massage establishments as well as massage schools. Sometimes clients have appointments at 6 o'clock in the morning or as late as 9 o'clock at night. We have classes of people that work during the day, full-time, and parents that work during the day come to school at night. Their classes don't end until 11 o'clock at night. And then the exemptions in the ordinance specify healthcare workers, which it's insulting to the extent that massage therapists are being lumped in with, like I said, adult entertainment, but we really don't have anything to do or in common with pawnbrokers and carnival owners and junk dealers, which are the people that are in the same kind of licensing that we are under as massage therapists. So I'd like to have these different items that I've got listed for you guys looked at. One that would be very cost prohibitive, and I gotta wonder that maybe some of these are on the book as part of the ordinance, but perhaps not being enforced, because I don't think every massage location, business has a separate locker room and bathroom and shower facility for both male and female. I mean, a big spa has that, but independent operator would have their treatment room where the client would disrobe, put their clothes on a chair on a hook, and then get right on the massage table, fully draped on the sheets. So say that they need to have a shower on location. It's just stuff like that. And many therapists work in 2 or 3 different cities, so there's no way they can afford $500 in every single city to get a license. In addition to the cost of having a license with the state of Michigan. So that's my soapbox. I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to us. I don't want to blab on too much longer. I'm going to ask these folks to contribute as well. If I'm here for questions, I also included my contact information. If you ever want to email me or call me, feel free.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Thank you for hosting us tonight. My name is Mike Crombie, and I do government relations work for the American Massage Therapy Association, the Michigan chapter specifically. I think to some of Kathy's points, I just want to back up a little bit and talk a little bit about how massage therapists are licensed at the state level. So for one, to be licensed as a massage therapist in Michigan, as Kathy mentioned, you need at least 625 hours of an accredited educational program that's spelled out by the state of Michigan. You have to pass the NLEX licensing exam, which would be similar to any other health profession would take to be licensed. And you do have to submit yourself and pass a criminal background check done by the state of Michigan as well. I think what's also interesting is that massage therapy is licensed in the state of Michigan in the public health code. So licensed massage therapists here in the state of Michigan are governed by the exact same act that doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, everybody else is in. And so really what we try to do when we try to work with cities and municipalities, and that's what we want to do, is we want to work in a collaborative approach, is we want to start from a framework of this is a public health profession, and how do we govern, how do local municipalities govern other health professions? And so that's one of the things we look for is are licensed massage therapists being treated equitably to those other health professions? Are the investigative fees, all of the things that are being required, are they also being required then of chiropractors, physical therapists, those types of things? We try not to be very prescriptive. We respect the rights of municipalities to set these ordinances that fit their community's needs. We understand every community is different, but we have these sort of pillars that we look for. So one is treating us like any other health professional. The other would be equity as it relates to other businesses within that municipality, hours of operations, general business fees. Again, we're not prescriptive on necessarily where those should be set from an AMTA statewide position, but we're hoping that those costs are not substantially higher than anybody else would be treated. And then the third thing we look for, and this is actually part of the ordinance today that we look for, is trying to tie having a state occupational license as a condition of receiving a business license. We do that for a couple of reasons. One is that the current state law does have exemptions from that 2008 passage on things like Asian body work. So there are individuals that can do certain things in the state without a license, and at least our sort of governing philosophy here is that municipalities are trying to make sure that illicit activity does not occur within their borders, and that's something we agree with. By linking your local business license to the state occupational license, you are guaranteeing that anybody that opens a massage business within your community has had that level of training, has passed that entrance exam, and has already had a background check from the state of Michigan. And so we think that's a good nexus and a good sort of best practice that municipalities should look at. And we also think that that makes it easier on the back end for municipalities. You don't necessarily have to have the same requirements for investigative fees because the state of Michigan has done some of that for you. Really, I'll leave some of the specifics to the rest of the group, but what I want to offer up, and feel free to work through Kathy, is we're an open door, and so we want to work collaboratively with as many municipalities as possible. It seems that we fight some of the same battles in every municipality because I think once there's one ordinance out there, I think it's kind of carbon copied all around the state of Michigan. But we're making good progress with municipalities all across the state. We want to be a partner. We're willing at any time to come down and sit in the conference room and talk through these things on an individual level and figure out what makes sense, both for licensed massage therapists here in the state of Michigan and in Waterford Township, and also the municipality.
Hi, it's nice to see you all again. I'm Bridget Becker. I own what is now Black Lotus Women's Wellness. Since the last time I saw you, I changed my business because of the problem that we have been experiencing. There was, I believe, it was 3 places that were shut down because it was proven prostitution. So we took a step to take it further and to change it to women's wellness. Excuse me, in effort to help protect ourselves as well. I'm just here basically because I want to continue to work with the township to help to protect the township from the places that have been shut down. But I'm also here as the next segment as well. But there's lots of things that these two have gone through with the ordinance that they have picked out that even I didn't pick out the first time I was here. And I believe they have this information. Yes, okay. So those are some of the questions and concerns that we have regarding those. So we're hoping to be able to revisit that.
Does anybody on the board have any questions?
I appreciate you saying you want to work with the township. I'm looking at, I thought you were just here to request leniency on the licensing fee, but if I'm looking through here, you're going to change the 10 items in the ordinance that you already have. I don't know how many items maybe there you answer the question. How many sections are in this ordinance for massage?
I don't know how many are in this section, but this is a lot of them. I can tell you that must have been a clerical error because the deputy clerk, I had sent her the agenda of the items that I wanted to address, and she only put in that one piece, so I apologize for that misunderstanding.
Just a question, before you came to Waterford to do business here, did you check our ordinances and see if it was feasible for you? Don't look like...
I don't do business here. I own a nationally accredited school in Southfield. I'm a resident of Waterford.
Who's asking for the leniency on that?
I am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I assumed that you were-
Yes, I set up my business 8 years ago, actually this month. And when I called zoning and I called the township treasurer, I believe, and I was told that I just had to pay the $10 business fee to set up a business.
Read that this letter.
Yeah, and I double checked and they said you're good to go. And so obviously the last year is when all of this came about. And so now I've been made aware, as they have been made aware, that this existed. They didn't know. I've been told it wasn't something that was governed, I guess. So no, unfortunately I did not know. I feel make the effort to try to find the
In
information.
the township, we spend a lot of money on attorney fees and our planning department employees doing our ordinance for us, and they're here for a reason. I have to say that I'm against any type of leniency on the registration fee. I mean, if we open the door for you, I wouldn't have to open the door for any business that comes in front of us. And we just, I think you need to do your homework before you open business. Go ahead.
May I ask a question? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just curious, and I don't know, so I'm just trying to understand because we work with a lot of communities. I'm the son of the city manager, so I'll understand what goes into this. And I heard you mention that you spend a lot of money on attorney fees to try to put these things in place. And I'm just curious if you traditionally reach out to industry or industry organizations when you put these ordinances together to understand what the viewpoint of the individuals you're regulating might be and what that outreach may or may not have been.
Thank you. Larry, can you answer that question for me? You probably answer a lot better than I could.
I'm Larry Lockwood, I'm the planner for Waterford, and nice to have you here this evening. So historically, we've had some issues with massage, if you will, if you want to use that term. In the past, massage parlors, massage therapy, massage clinics, different types of therapeutic massage. And as the industry has evolved, times have changed, and I appreciate your comments. I think from an ordinance standpoint, as to answer your question directly, when we look at an ordinance, we look at how it will serve the general public and how it will protect. So historically in Waterford, we've had some issues, as you might be aware, and we try to guard against those issues and protect the community at large. Not to discriminate from licensed massage therapy clinics or businesses, but I think currently our ordinance allows for massage type businesses in our extensive business district only after special approval. Now, perhaps this may be something that the board and the planning commission may want to revisit in light of the attention that this subject has brought to our community in particular. I know our police department is trying to do their best to regulate some of these businesses, but many of them are legitimate and welcome in our community. So if you look at our zoning ordinance currently, there may be an avenue to look at the special approval process in other districts, in some of our other smaller business districts that currently don't provide for this type of business. So that may be something that the township board may want to consider if they are interested in revising any of our ordinances to allow for a wider range after special approval through the planning commission's review. Just something that I could offer as maybe a help to solve this. We would then engage through that special approval process, the police department, for example, maybe conducting some interviews with the various business people. I might add that in the past, not too recent past, we've had interviews trying to determine the legitimate business practices as to others that might not be so upfront with our community. And we've gone to the point of involving our police department and our code enforcement office, our planners, our development services directors, our clerk's office in the past, and people have come in very forthright saying that they are a legitimate business, and it's turned out to be just the opposite, where we've had to conduct those types of follow-ups and investigations. So,
Larry, can I interrupt for just 1 second? These people that you've interviewed, have they had licenses?
yes,
They've produced.
They've presented to our departments the various licenses that are required
By the state.
Registered in the state of Michigan. Clean records, if you will, from when you research their background checks. So they passed or checked all the boxes that you might think, and then we've turned out less than a year later where we're conducting investigations for illegal activities. And as you know, any community, any progressive community is trying to protect their community at large. So maybe we've been a little bit too restrictive in the past, but rightly so. In my opinion, as a planner, I've seen quite a wide range of different types of business practices. And I have nothing against the legitimate business operator. I'd like to encourage them to come to Waterford. There is a place, and we appreciate their services. But I guess I'll close for right now unless you have any questions, but that would be my offering or suggestion.
Okay.
If we speak of special approval for it, she knows there's a fee that comes from the planning commission that exceeds the $500.
Yes, and it's currently, Mr. Bartolotta, it's currently for massage business in Waterford Township under our current ordinance. That business is only allowed in our extensive business district. Say, for example, Massage Green, that was one of our newer licensed massage businesses that is doing business down in the Waterford Plaza on Highland Road. So they've had a very good track record. They're well respected in the industry. And I know there's a lot of smaller massage businesses around town or massage therapists that would like to have that same opportunity to compete. We don't want to take that away from them, but we feel that we have to have some rules and regulations in place because we've been quite frankly inundated with other types of businesses that aren't as upfront as I mentioned. But perhaps maybe the special approval process would be the way to go. Looking at an ordinance that opens it up for other business districts, and they would have to meet the same criteria and pass the same checks and balances.
That's something as a board we can discuss.
Something you can discuss and make a recommendation on the planning commission to further investigate that as a possibility and bring it back to the board as in the form of an ordinance.
I do know that Massage did pay their $500 license fee. So,
And I believe that's what she was here for, to get relief on the $500 licensing fee, and that was the only thing.
and we have to treat everybody.
Yeah, so.
We have to treat everybody.
So you're talking about Massage Green, so I understand you. How long have they been in business?
I would say at least 10 years.
At least 10 years. So they're up and running, they're following the rules, they're following the regulations, and obviously if they're still open, they're a successful
It's
business.
not in business in Waterford.
Yes,
Yeah, they have.
Oh, they
Yes,
are.
they are.
They've been in business, and that's part of the problem. So this ordinance has been in existence long. I know it was recoded back in 2014. Is this on? I know the
Chief of
ordinance.
Police Scott Underwood.
I know the ordinance was recoded back in 2014 or so, I'm told. In 2015, the licensing fees that go along with all the businesses that are required to pay a fee to be licensed in the township was readopted. The cost was $500 at that particular time. And these licensing requirements were in effect. Part of the problem is that there was no enforcement for an extended period of time in terms of law enforcement regarding the licensing of these massage establishments. As everybody is well aware, we were successful in closing down 3 massage establishments that were operating illegitimately, not only in terms of licensing, but in terms of the services they provide. They were really houses for prostitution. So, and I would agree with what Larry says. I don't have any objection to anybody running a legitimate business in the township, and we would invite that. And the purpose for this ordinance is not only to protect the township, but also to protect the legitimate businesses that are operating in this particular area. One of the young ladies made a reference that back then they were fronts for prostitution. Well, they're still fronts. Not all of them, but a number of them are still fronts for prostitution. Worse than that, there's a large human trafficking problem going on, not only in this state, but across the country. When we raided these 3 particular massage establishments, we found people in there from Chicago, we found people in there from Georgia, we found people in there from California, and the MO of these people is that the business owners themselves are absentee. They don't live here, they don't operate the business on a day-to-day basis. The money comes in and it's sent to these people who really have no interest or never have any intention of setting foot in the Waterford Township. The initial investigation started with Michigan State Police and their Human Trafficking Task Force, That went on for a period of time. 2 of the 3 businesses that we ended up closing down were interconnected and actually owned by somebody who lives and resides on the West Coast. Money was being sent there as well as other places. And I think there's also some confusion in terms of the licensing and the payment. The ordinance requires that the business pay a $500 fee when they make application to operate in this township. It doesn't require that every single therapist that works in that business pays $500. There is a requirement that every single therapist in that business be licensed by the state, which they are required to do anyway, and that they provide proof of that license, the current license from the state. We also request that we be provided with those licenses, and we do a background check on those particular people, but there's no $500 requirement for every one of those people. I would agree with Mr. Bartolotta in terms of any deviance from licensing fees. The license fee has been set at $500 in addition to, there are a number of license fees in this township that are set close to that. It's $400 to apply to be to have a distressed vehicle or junkyard. It's $500 for a fireworks display. It's $500 for a liquor license application. You know, it's not that amount of money is exorbitant in terms of a business application. I would just say that I would agree with Mr. Bartolotta that if you open the door for one, then that doesn't allow us to really vet the others as well, or you know, we spend time and investigations, time and manpower investigating backgrounds of people, business backgrounds. They have to provide their employment for the last 3 years. We have an investigator that does that. We have a fee to the state for fingerprints that we have to pay when we fingerprint these people. We have fire personnel and building personnel that have to check these businesses and make sure that they're in compliance with township ordinance.
Pontiac also charges $500.
I would say, you know, and like I said, I don't discourage any legitimate business at all. But you know, in Ms. Becker's letter, she indicates that she pays for her business, pays rent, utilities, professional liability, personal and property insurance, licensing fees to the state, continuing education. And I get it; those are all expenses that you incur when you open your own business. Yet it's the $500 licensing fee that will be a complete distress on the business. My response to that would just be that, you know, any business person has to consider the viability and sustainability of the business, and that you know, those are all things you need to consider. And if that $500 really will put you over the edge, that's a business decision you have to make. I think that, you know, we made some modifications to this ordinance. We did remove a couple of things last year or the year before with regard to medical testing at the request of some of the massage establishment people, and I completely understood that, and I wasn't opposed to that at all. But part of what allowed us to be able to what allowed us to be able to investigate and ultimately close down the illegitimate businesses was the teeth that were in this ordinance to begin with. And had it not been like that, we may not have been as successful. Going back to my original statement, some of this licensing stuff wasn't enforced previously. So once that investigation wrapped up, we notified every massage establishment that we could determine was operating in this township of the requirements and the licensing process. So that's what brings us here today.
And again, when you're talking about the $500 fee, by the time you do all the inspections and look at licenses and make sure everything's legitimate, we're hoping best to break even on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even bet that's a break-even proposition.
Right, but it's still some funding that goes towards that,
Yes.
just like it does for all the other license applications. And now, what is the cost when we have to raid one of those places, just out of curiosity off the top of your head?
Well, I'll tell you that you know, there were 3 establishments that we wrapped up that investigation all at the same time. We executed 3 search warrants simultaneously. We had Waterford Police Department, we had Department of Homeland Security, we had Michigan State Police, we had a number of other local agencies that helped us to the tune of about 30 police officers. We also had fire with us to do the fire inspection when we were in there, as well as the building department and code enforcement. As a result of those, just from code enforcement, there were 14 violations issued at 3 separate locations. There were violations issued to the property owners as well as the managers and employees, and that didn't count what was issued by building and fire. And I will make one more statement with regard to licensing. There were, at least at 2 of the locations that we entered, there were state licenses hanging on a wall in a frame for people that weren't even there and hadn't been there for a long time. The MO, I'm not telling you guys anything, you probably know how this works because you fight against this as well as we do. You know, the MO is that they'll move these ladies into town for a 3 or 6 month period, move them right back out again and move somebody else in. There's always this revolving door, a continuing process where they're moving these people around. And that's the human trafficking element to this. And it's not, you know, it's as much as we want to encourage legitimate business to operate here in Waterford Township, we also want to discourage the illegitimate business because it does 2 things. 1, it affects the quality of life of the people in this township, and 2, it affects our ability to attract other legitimate businesses when there are businesses like those 3 that are operating in these strip centers and in other places.
Anybody else? Anybody else have any questions for Chief Underwood or Larry while they're up here? Okay. Yes, ma'am?
I actually have a question for the chief, please.
Your questions are supposed to be directed to the board.
Well,
and he
okay,
can-
to clarify something he was saying is that there were some state licenses hanging on the wall for people that weren't even there. I'm wondering if those folks were held accountable for having their licenses displayed someplace where they don't even work. Obviously, we can't be held responsible, do you know what I mean, for somebody grabbing someone's license and doing it. So I was just curious how that played out. And I will tell you that based on federal law, we are required to start educating people on human trafficking through our school system.
Good. Now, the licenses that were illegal, you did report them to the state, correct?
Yeah,
Where it's the state's job to enforce the licensing.
Yes.
Yep.
I think, and I appreciate the police chief's comments because I think we have the same goal here. And I think part of the reason I'd like to continue this conversation maybe outside of this room is I think those goals are aligned. I think our wires may be crossed on how some of these happen, how some of these things impact people in reality. So when I talk about the need to have an occupational license, and we talk about requiring occupational licenses to do business within the township, that's great. That also means proving who you are. So that's not just simply showing up and saying, I have a state occupational license. It should also match your ID. And so in a case where we see some of these types of incidents, we see them all across the state, what we're really talking about are forgeries or those types of things. And so I think there's a way we can do that. I also think, though, that we need to have a real conversation about tone. And when I talk about treating people like health professionals, and I know you all have this code, but I guarantee you this is not in any ordinance for chiropractors, physical therapists, doctors, or any other health professional, where it references uniforms and says, and I quote, "Such uniforms or garments shall properly cover massagists' genitals areas, breasts, buttocks, and shall not be tight or revealing in those areas such as to arouse the patrons." And so really what we're talking about is, can't we have a dress code that requires people to wear medically professional clothing? I mean, isn't there a way we can treat licensed professionals in the state of Michigan, licensed massage therapists, in a way that does not assume from the onset that they are engaged in illicit activity? And I would say that in any community, when we talk about protecting the public, we also want to treat our residents with respect. And I don't know that that is in this ordinance as written. And so those are the conversations we want to continue to have to find a way that checks all of the boxes, that gives law enforcement the tools. But there's another way to write this that doesn't assume that some of your citizens are criminals. And outside of that, I guess I would just offer that I'm available at any time to meet with anyone from this municipality on ways we can work together to make sure that illicit activity is not happening here, but that we're treating people with respect.
Also, in the, this thing, sorry, is the portion about needing showers and locker rooms. So my business has already been established. I rent from a chiropractor who is reputable in the area. She's right next door to me. She actually refers some of her clients to me. So now, if I do not have a shower or locker room, or a private place for the different genders to change in this room, am I going to be then denied my application? Part of this request for leniency is also like, thank you for giving me the time to try to figure this out. I don't want to leave Waterford. I love it. But I also can't financially adhere to this. I cannot build out a shower. I cannot build out a locker room. I don't have the money and I don't have the space. And so yes, you asked me did I do my homework. I thought I did. I contacted many people. I worked with the, SCORE, people from the Society for Retired Executives. I worked with the Waterford, like the free aspects of the Waterford business people. I thought I did my homework. And so I'm just asking for a little help.
You don't know what I said, that you should have done your homework. You should have read the ordinance.
The people I was asking who worked for the
You should have
township
done it.
didn't know it was there either.
You should have done it yourself, though. So, that's okay.
I tried. I did.
Anybody else have any questions?
I appreciate you coming here and expressing your challenges, and I also appreciate the chief's comments as trying to protect the citizens, which is our job too. And I think the real question comes down to some of the wording in the ordinance that leaves no room for subjectivity in order to be able to be enforced if they have violations. So I think that there is some room to look at some of the wording. I'm not in favor of lowering fee though, just because of the cost that it goes into to make sure everybody's safe and protected as best we can.
Is this fee an annual fee? I can't.
Yes.
Okay. That's.
Guess what?
There's a lot. I didn't know it was a one-time fee or every year. They conduct all the back. The investigation, the background checks and all that stuff is done every single year.
And the initial application fee, and that's application fee is $500. The license renewal fee is $500. The annual license renewal fee is $500 too. Okay.
How many massage therapists
Therapists are establishments.
establishments in business right now?
Well, I think the number of, minus the 3 that were just closed down, I think the number of establishments that were registered and notified was, I think, 10. 3 of those 10 were returned to us undeliverable. So there are 7 left out there that we made aware that we were aware that they were operating and that they needed to comply with the ordinance. None. That's why they were all sent the second notice.
And I want to comply, I really do. For example, though, if I were a cosmetologist instead of a massage therapist, and I literally would be touching people's genitals, I would only have to pay an application fee of $75 to the state, and then a renewal fee every 2 years of only $50. They're still coming and they're still checking out the business and making sure that I would be following along with their legal aspects as well.
Okay, thank you. We have a couple people in the audience that have questions. Sir, you follow him, ma'am. Come up here to the podium. please.
Sandy Aronoff.
Kim?
Pardon?
Did you hear his name?
No, I'm sorry, I did not.
Sandy Aronoff.
Thank you, Sam.
Yes, I'm a resident. With all due respect, I find it to be a joke that you're charging $500 a year for a small business person, which is the same price as a liquor store. My mother was a hairstylist. She didn't pay $500 a year. That's number one. Number two, with all due respect to the police chief, I heard an awful lot about human trafficking and so on online and violations. You have a lot of good people that are independent businessmen. I owned a Dairy Queen in Union Lake. I was a small businessman. I didn't pay $500 a year for a license. Not at all. And I'm sure we probably generated a bit more money than she did. So when you figure out what you may make a year versus the $500, the percentage is very, very high. Also considering the fact that she is seeing prices as a hairstylist. I prefer to call them hairstylist, not cosmetologist, and that's an old saying. And I've used massage therapists, and I've never been a massage therapist that actually had a shower or a separate room. The young man or the man or the lady would step out of the room, close that door, and tell me to let them know when I'm ready. And I'm going to appreciate it. I'm sure that's probably what she does. So I would suggest you seriously would consider that ordinance in the best interest of having businesses in Waterford. We need more businesses, not less. Whether they're a small business, a mom and pop store, or a liquor store that pays $500 a year for a license. You know, when you think to be $500 is just chump change, it's not that. What is something's paid? It wasn't chump change to me either. But it's chump change to a liquor store. And I'm sure there's less violations with them than there is with liquor stores, especially selling cigarettes and so on.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Hi, my name's Lynn Hartong. I am a resident of Waterford. And the reason I'm stepping up here right now is I would totally agree with the initial $500 application fee for the research and what they have to do to make sure that it's hopefully really going to be a legitimate business. But the part that I'm kind of curious about is I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Michigan. My renewal fee is I think it's about $350 for 3 years. So for them to have to pay $500 to the township to renew their license every year seems a bit outrageous to me. So I would say.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Jason Hurd, Warren Drive, Waterford. I agree with the $500 fee. I think that needs to occur. However, the renewal fee, I think should be halved. $250, I think, is reasonable. Reasonable to make them have a shower in the changing room, not reasonable. I think that's something that in the ordinance should be modified. That she should not be required to put that into a business when nobody's going to use it. They change in the room that they're going to be massaged in. They're not going to shower, they're going to shower at home. There's no reason to make her add that into her business. And again, renewing for $500 every year is ridiculous. I think a $250 fee for renewal, and maybe make it every 2 years. Modify the ordinance a little bit. But I do think we need to keep certain parts of it in for enforcement purposes as well. And $500 fee for the initial background check as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
The people
Yes,
who
ma'am.
used to ask me for showers are the people who called me before I changed it to women's wellness.
Hi, my name is Sherry Murphy. I actually graduated from Kathy School 5 years ago. Licensed massage therapist for 5 years at Massage Green Spa. I live and work in Macomb County. No Massage Green facility I know has any separate changing rooms or showers in any of their facilities at all.
We have the client change in the room when we step out, we go back in and perform the massage. So to have, I just don't know of any massage grooming facility or any chain massage place on a large scale that has any separate showers, separate locker rooms, or separate anything. We just have restrooms. So,
Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Kathy Krajewski. I've been a resident of Waterford for 37 years. And when I first moved here, I was pregnant with twins, and I had really swelled feet and ankles, and couldn't find a place in Waterford that I could get a legitimate massage back then. So as time has passed, one of the things that I did 25 years ago is I quit smoking with massage. And I reward myself by not smoking for 25 years by getting a massage about every 10 days. So I've had a lot of massage, and I've never gone to a place that has had a shower unless it's an all-day spa where you're getting the full treatment, you know, you're getting the facial and hair, the whole thing. I'd like to point out that there is in every mall, there is a place that you can walk in and get a shiatsu massage, and they're always busy, and there is no shower there. In fact, very few of them will even let you use a bathroom. You have to go to the mall bathroom. So I think that's a ridiculous request, and I think we need good, legitimate massage places in Waterford, and I hope that you will understand that $500 is a lot for small business. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on this subject? Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I don't want to get on your nerves. Although I get the shower thing, one thing that's in my notes that I didn't mention is the requirement to have a window or viewable so that it's open to view. Clients pay for, you know, reasonable respect of privacy, and they're getting disrobed in that room, so I don't think it should be open to view of anybody else there. It's just another thing that is in the ordinance that is kind of outdated.
Okay.
Thanks.
Everybody's input's very appreciated. Again, you need to hear this stuff. I kind of a square peg in a round hole. I've never had a massage in my life, so I just, I'm not familiar with them. I did get 2 chair massages here when the local massage group came in, and I went to sleep with both of them. So it's very relaxing. I understand it, but at the same time, I said, the more input we get, the more educated we become. The more educated we become, the more educated, you know, decisions we can make. So appreciate your input. Appreciate the audience input too. Yes.
Just one question, maybe, got it right. What's the purpose of having a shower ordinance?
The purpose is, it said, there has to be some place for these people, if the need arises, to shower, dress, someplace private. The other part is if they're doing business with men and women at the same time, so you just keep them separate. The whole purpose is to prevent exactly what I was talking about before. Prevent people from, you know, you talk about massages that happen in the mall, you know, those happen out in the open where everybody's closed. We're talking about establishments that are business done behind closed doors and behind curtains. You know, while I appreciate everything people say, and I don't have any reason to doubt anything they said in terms of how they conduct themselves, or how they conduct their business. They don't operate that. We have to consider everybody that's in this business legitimate, and we talk about how it, what the requirements can be, and how it's.
This could be something to discuss,
Yeah, I would think that it's up for further discussion.
We sat down, you know, with the township prosecutor, yourself, myself, you know, the previous clerk, we talked about this 2 or 3 years ago. We reviewed this planning, everybody went over that and talked about it. And again, like I said, you being the one that has to deal with them on a legal basis, and, you know, them having to come for a planning commission to get the establishment. I consider you guys the professionals from the township. We didn't have anybody from the business in those meetings. So again, like I said, it's just, there's stuff that we can look at and discuss and talk about. here in the near future and see what we come up with.
Through the chair, if possible, I'm curious because the police chief mentioned that they need to have a shower in case a need arises for someone to take a shower, and I'm not sure what that need would be.
No, he said that's why they put it in there in the first place. And again, it's dealing with illegitimate massage establishments. He's not talking about legitimate. He made that crystal clear. He's talking about illegitimate massage establishments, trying to weed them out, get them out of it.
Then I'll thank the board for their time. I appreciate you taking some time on this issue. Again, I'll make myself available at any time for any discussions, answer any questions. You know, again, our goal is to have only legitimate massages here. And I think the fact that 0 have registered with the township is probably pretty telling about where this ordinance is today, and maybe you've done too good of a job of closing the door. Thank you.
Can you forward us, go to the website and forward us your contact information? Thank you. You got it, Scott? Okay.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is, we just discussed this a second ago, request for leniency for licensing for massage establishment application. Got a motion to accept it.
Motion to deny.
I would support that with the knowledge that we're going to talk about.
Correct.
I'll support that.
We are going to be on that.
It's an open door meeting.
Here, we'll discuss it in another meeting, not necessarily tonight. We need to gather information. Sorry about that. But the motion is just for the fee leniency for tonight.
The motion is to deny the
Right.
licensing fee, leniency, as of right now.
Support.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Bartolotta.
Yes.
Roscoe.
Yes.
Joliet.
Yes.
Birch.
Yes.
Marquis, yes. Thomas.
Yes.
Wall.
Yes. And again, we will meet on this in the near future. We'll look into this further. Okay, that brings us to the end of our agenda. We'll open it up for public comment at this time. We remind the public they're limited to 3 minutes per person. And when you come up, please state your name. Sir? Yes, sir.
I'm Greg Pierce, resident of Waterford, and I just want to urge defeat of the waste hauler ordinance. I thought that was on the agenda today, but apparently not. I think we need to leave residents with a choice. Otherwise, we need to include standards for performance and satisfaction. I had a time way back when with Smith where I got rid of them because the girl, when I said they'd missed my pickup, and the guy said that it wasn't out there when it was, basically said, well, I have to believe my guy. I took that as calling me a liar and questioning my integrity. Those are core values, and I am not willing to, if Smith happened to be selected, I would not be willing to contract with them. I'd find something else to do with it. So I ask you, please, defeat this ordinance and let us have our choice so that we can have somebody that we're comfortable having to do the hauling. I'm not even willing to talk to Smith these days. Thank you for your time.
Sir, just a minute, please. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Greg Pierce.
Greg.
Full name is actually Gregory, but I go by Greg. E-I-E-R-C-E, so you'll...
You need a junior high school after you didn't take it.
Yeah, so...
Excuse me.
That was
Middle
all you
school.
guys.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Yes, sir?
Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Is it Lot?
Larry Lockwood, he's our township planner.
Yeah. You know, I've been trying to get a hold of that guy. I've left 3 messages. Each time I told him what I wanted, and you must keep him so busy he can't call back. Because I called him 3 times to thank him for the really good job he did dealing with the people at the rental place down here on Cass Lake Road. You get, they put some big, storage units right up on the street. It was just calling out for graffiti. You know, they were white and they're beautiful, and I could see the paint job. So I don't know, is Larry here tonight? I think I've seen him earlier.
He was up there earlier, yes.
Thank you, Larry. I appreciate your help very much. They got moved. I've been out of town and came back and out of town, and I haven't had time to thank him. I called a couple of times. I just wanted to make sure I seen him and told somebody else what a good job he did. That was a big job. I mean, there was a lot of them. There were like 20 of them like sitting there, and he got them all moved. I appreciate it.
Thank you, but I just wanted to say, I got the message the other day that said, call me back if you want to, but I just wanted to call you.
Oh, okay. Maybe I missed it. I was coming here anyway to thank you, and I appreciate it very much. If it was a job right, you want to thank him.
If it was an issue I had to resolve, I would have called you back, but
I know you called me back first, and I was just waiting.
okay.
All right, thank you very much.
And again, not defending Larry, but we are converting our phone system over. I was since like noon Thursday, I haven't had a telephone. Miraculously, it came back on 10 o'clock this morning, I knew it, just started ringing. So, yeah.
I was just trying to move it, I knew you were back there, I just wanted to make sure.
You haven't lost your sense of humor. Okay, good. Yes, sir?
Sandy, you're not again. I got a missed vote on splash hole business.
Stand here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sandy, you're not. I missed the boat on this whole trash business, and I wanted to find out where we're at on it right now. I just found about this week. I was up in Canada, finally got a vacation after the last 4 months. I am on board with the condo association. We choose our trash hauler every 3 years or every 2 years. Right now we're on a 3-year cycle. And my concern is we're going to wind up paying more money than what we're paying for now, where we have trash, we have recyclables, and we have large item pickup along with grass and other yard waste. Where are we at on this? And I'm sorry, I gotta plead guilty, I don't know.
Okay.
I got a call.
We posted it on the township website, and we always post it with MIPM.
I understand. Yeah,
Okay.
I have a chance.
For RFPs to get bids on trash hauling single source for Waterford Township. That's where we're at with it right now.
Okay.
Rather than committing, changing the ordinance over stuff, we're gonna find out first if it's financially feasible to do it. If we get quotes back that say it is, then we're gonna go forward from there.
So you are not gonna put this for a vote with the population?
No, well, no, it's not gonna be a ballot issue, no, sir.
This is a large move, a very, very large move, because you picked the wrong one, we're all gonna be in the same boat. You know, I've gone through trash haulers, I've been here for 18 years now. I've moved into Commerce Township. You know, we have our own trash cans were provided to each owner. We paid for them ourselves. Our own recycle bins, we're all set up with that. And we're very, very happy with the provider that we have now. And we've got a contract until 2021. And I certainly would not want to change it. They're excellent. They're highly professional. But for me to pay more than $20 a month for a weekly pickup of each one of the items that I just mentioned to you would be horrendous for us, because you would set our workers back. We have a lot of new owners, a lot of old owners that can't afford, fees above $20, $22 a month. I don't want to pay it. I don't want to pay a processing fee from the Township of Waterford for you to collect taxes and so on the line on this. I think you're broadening your reach at this point, yet you don't want to become a city and not do the roads. So I will leave it at that. It's not an insult, it's a fact. Don't think you should do that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else? Yes, sir?
Hall, 7366 basically Lake Road, Waterford. Single trash hauler. I came here tonight expecting to see this railroad job go through. It's not being discussed tonight. I tell you what, guys, I'm not happy with the way this came through. You've got your hand deep in my pockets, okay? If there was a way you could throw this on the tax rolls without a vote, I have no doubt you would do it, okay? This should be going up to a vote. This is gonna be a significant contract that you are going to decide comes out of my pocket. Don't like that. This is not the right way to be doing this. If you want to sit there and come up with this single hauler, then the residents of this community need to be asked. Okay? Taking that a bunch yourself, and I pay what, $300 every 3 months? I don't know. But we're looking at probably $50 million contract you're going to give somebody for the largest township in the state. No, not right. You're saying, so let it be written, so let it be done. I don't like that.
I know what I said, and that's not what I said.
Pretty much so.
You interpret as you want to interpret, and to correct you on that, we're the largest township in Oakland County, fifth largest township in the state, 20th largest municipality in the state.
I'm in there. Thank you for the correction.
No, just clarification.
However, the fact that this is being done, we came in here last meeting to discuss it. Now, ordinance has been written. I feel like I'm in the Union Pacific Railroad waiting for the train to leave. Not right. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, you got a little bit angry with one of the gentlemen speaking. Vote me out of office. My interpretation of that is, let them eat bread. You folks need to start paying attention to the people, the residents of this community. You're charged with this community, not a personal interest, not to get all the garbage trucks out of your subdivision, but one. You know, it's not your role. No self-serving interest to the community. Take 30 seconds, 29, I think I'll sit down now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, just in case you don't know, I have heard from other residents that are paying.
You speak so strong that I'm hearing impaired. I got this thing cranked up as loud as it can go, and I can't hear you.
I have heard from other residents that are all in favor for this too, so don't think that everybody's against it.
I'm just saying this needs to be going out for a vote. This is a substantial contract. It needs to be voted on by the people, and that's some special election on 6 Tuesday next month.
Appreciate it.
Okay, is there anybody else? Yes, sir?
John Stratton, 1451 Jeffrey Drive. Excuse me, 1 minute. Take these out of my ears. Swimmers here. Never swam all year. I wasn't going to speak tonight. Told my wife I wasn't going to do it. But I had to because I sent you, Gary, a couple pictures the other day.
Yep.
The weeds by the corner of my street, that tall.
Yep.
And I said, that's a safety concern. Can't see to get out on the road. I want to say that Mr. Wall, the very next day, they were out there in the rain, weed whacking those weeds down so we could see down that road. Thank you.
I called code enforcement, they did their job.
Yeah, they did. And the other thing is, I would like to see you pay someone to take a lint brush to these chairs. Because I can't hardly sit in them. There's so many hairs from the previous thousands of people. And you know, if you need to hire somebody to do it, let me know. I'll bring that brush, take care of it for you. Now, I know that probably has nothing to do with anything anybody's want to talk about today, but if they look in their chair when they get up, they're going to wonder why we have to sit in chairs with you. Smile, it's not right there.
No, it's been a while since I said
Take a
it.
look when you walk out, okay? Really. Somebody needs to take care of it. Hey, I did it within 3 minutes, didn't you?
You're on a roll. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir?
Max Thompson, live here in Waterford for almost all my life. I was up here last meeting. You're doing very well with your microphones. You aren't. You need to get closer to the mic when you talk, because we can't hear you. And when it goes over the air, oh, wait a minute, it's not on the air, right? I was one of those 20 people that called up and asked, what's going on? You know what I was told? I was told it broke down a month ago. And there's supposed to be an upgrade. It was scheduled for December, and they decided they're going to put the upgrade in now because it was down. And guess what? They told me it was going to be up on Friday. I went out there over the weekend, and I went out there this morning. Your station's still not up. This board meeting is very important to the people of the township. People watch you. Not sure why, or think you can say yes, but regardless of that, people watch it. When it's not being publicized, they don't know what's going on. Period. I mean, not a lot of people go out there to your website and look around and see what you're doing. They tune in. Why haven't we had it changed? I mean, we've got a couple of channels. You got an education channel, and you got 10, and you got 20. 10's on some kind of a damn loop. Okay? I ain't sure what, but Lula's yoga doesn't interest me. This does. So I would think that you would somehow, with your technicians, switch it so that channel 10 could publicize this. I know it won't happen. Thanks.
For what it's worth, I watched the last meeting last night on my computer. Yeah, I had, video and sound. I agree, sound was difficult from some of the microphones, but I made it out. I had it cranked.
Sound has been always
Understood,
a problem.
and we're attempting to fix that.
But I didn't see anything on the channel on the cable. It's not there.
I watched it on
I
my computer
don't
through.
think that they're able to broadcast it through the channel, because the channel's not up yet, but if you have access to the internet, like at the library, if you go to the township website, you can live stream that video, not live stream, but stream the video at any time you want.
I like to sit in my lounge chair with my popcorn and watch.
Well, according to Trustee Thomas, I think that's going to be coming soon.
Sir, the best thing you should do is contact the cable commissioner. Give him a call.
That's what I called.
Did he give you any exact date? The
He
equipment's
said
supposed
Friday, last Friday. He told me last Friday it would be up and running, guaranteed. Sorry, didn't happen.
Actually, we're sorry, it should, so we'll follow up on that too.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
Can I say one more
Bill?
thing?
No.
Just real quick. You said that all you did was contact the ordinance department.
Any ordinance complaints that come into my office, I do a lot of things in the
I
township.
had already went online, made those same complaints, and they came out and did what do you call it, a report of it.
Right.
Okay, filled out a report. I'm sure that's because I've seen the guy there doing it. But he drove away, and time went by, and nothing happened. It wasn't until I went down there with my camera and took pictures of the danger of what was going on there. Because if you had a low car and you tried to see, you could not see the traffic. Same thing happened a couple of years ago, and somebody put a sign there, and I told them about the sign, and they sent me an email back and said, oh, we went out there and there was no problem. I sent you that same thing, and the next, well, not even that next day, the very same day, they came and moved the sign. So please do not take away the power of you sending something for me that I do myself, because it's not getting the same attention. That's all I want.
But again, any complaint comes to me, I forward it to the
And I
correct department.
appreciate that, that's why I sent it to you.
Yep, but per township ordinance.
Oh man, as soon as I got your email address a few years ago, it was like I had the Savior. So people lessen that power that you have by taking care of it for us. It's just amazing how much more attention it gets.
But per township ordinance, you have to send a notice, a warning, and then order a cut.
Oh,
That's
I know
all it
how it works.
So there's probably a couple-week process of what was 12 inches of grass is now 3 feet of grass by the time, or what was 3 feet, now 4 feet. But that's how it works. You have to be fair to people. And then if they don't do it, you do it for them, and you put it on their tax bill. And then if it's another violation, it's a notice, warning, and a citation. And then from that, it goes over to the court.
There was a guy that lived down the street that had a semi, and they came out and did ordinance on him. He would pay the fine because it was cheaper than taking his truck somewhere else. So we dealt with a semi on the street for all that time. 36 cents. Now my second time. I'm not gonna have you say we gotta move on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Is there anybody else? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Any further? What's that?
No.
On the agenda, there's a possible closed session to discuss attorney-client privilege material regarding the contract negotiated with Water Professional Firefighters Association. That has been resolved and taken care of. So.
Excellent. Okay, so I'll support.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? There are none. Thank you.